Hi, everyone, and welcome to this special snow day edition of Fox Business. I'm Robert Gray in for Cheryl Casoni, also braving the snowdrifts, and joining me in studio for the entire hour, James Frischling, NewOak Capital co-founder and president. Thanks so much for coming in and joining us here today. We're also going to have, and James, that clearly is the story that's dominating the headlines coming out after Christmas, aside from the snowstorm, of course, that move by China. When you look at it as an investor, I mean, clearly it weighed on the markets overseas overnight. Our markets today trying to slow down demand in China. How much do you think this one move makes, towards tamping inflation, which really we haven't seen a whole lot of just yet?
Sure, and I think up until this move, China was using a kind of a less obvious or rather a less aggressive move to slow things down, such as in changing reserve rates. Right. But then now they actually went out and changed the rates themselves. So I do think they're trying to get out ahead of this. In terms of oil, last time I was on the show, we talked about the demand really being pushed by Asia, OPEC staying on the sidelines, looking for more fundamental reasons to kind of open up the spigots a little bit. And now this holiday season, we saw $3 gas in the States for the first time, I guess, on the Christmas holiday season.
Yeah, sadly, I paid more than that, too, in New York City, but that's a different story to fill up the rental car. From black crude, though, to winter white. And, James, you are walking over from the Grand Central area, Grand Central Station here in Midtown Manhattan. Talk to us about what you saw on the way. And I mean, I was in before the sun came up, so definitely not a lot of people out at that particular time.
And it was still very, very quiet. But I'll say the cabbies are out little by little. They're skidding, they're sliding. People are helping them get through it, but the streets are starting to get cleared. But again, it's quiet out there. Easy trip on the MT, on the subway down to Grand Central, and a walk across to the studio, so not too bad.
Most of the shops open or opening?
Mixed, actually. Surprises, see a number of kind of local restaurants and retailers all shut down. I guess it's unless they had the inventory, they couldn't open up. We were talking. I think I'll stay away from some of the sushi restaurants today and wait till the end of the week to pick that up again.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to stay away from those. And the restaurant I was in last night was progressively picking up. Actually, people were flocking in. Maybe they're one of the few that was actually still open and had the supplies. Be interesting to see how that goes tonight for sure. But anyway, we'll have much more on the big blizzard here. 20 inches. All right, it's snowing outside. Are you ready for some football? Great weather to sit inside and watch anyway, but they weren't ready last night to play in Philly anyway. The NFL postponing the Vikings-Eagles game from Sunday until Tuesday night due to the storm that dumped a foot of snow in the city of brotherly love. Tomorrow night's game will be the first Tuesday night game since 1946. While Eagles coach Andy Reid and quarterback Michael Vick supported the NFL's decision to move the game, Governor Ed Rendell did not. He said, "This is football. Football's played in bad weather." Let's see if this extra time makes a difference for Vikings quarterback Brett Favre, though, who was expected to miss the game due to a concussion. Now he has a couple extra days to recover. And we know all those fantasy football enthusiasts will be watching. A lot of title games are on the line, won't be decided until tomorrow night. My semifinal tilt will also not be decided until then as well. James, football is an outdoor, all-weather kind of sport. At least it used to be.
I'm a native New Yorker, but Governor Ed Rendell, I got to tell you, I'll tip my hat to him, and I think he's right. I don't know, has NFL gone soft? Get out there and get in the stands and let's play some football. But certainly I'll enjoy the game now tomorrow night. It's a treat, but the fact is I kind of thought they should have gotten on the field and let's play the game.
Well, the commissioner didn't ask me, but my 2 cents would have been, you know what, let's move the game to earlier if you're really that concerned about everyone involved. Play the game in the afternoon and move the Indy-Oakland game to the nighttime. They would have had the most time from time zone perspective to move the game. It still would have had Peyton Manning in prime time. I think NBC probably would have been happier to have that. I'm not sure what they ran as a counter, but I'm sure they were caught off guard last night. I'm sure the advertisers not too happy, though they will get Tuesday night.
They get Tuesday. The NFL now has got Thursday night football. They sneak games in Saturday night. They obviously dominate Sunday, Monday. So you know what? Maybe this is an attempt to put football all week long. So
well, you know what? I used to watch the USFL because I couldn't get enough. I watched it all year long. I admit it. But anyway. So what can the Vikings and Eagles players expect tomorrow night? And for what's next for this East Coast storm, we head to the Weather Center. And
I guess I would ask, a lot of political capital was spent getting health care through, and now I'm talking by the Obama administration, even some of the stimulus and some of the money to help support the financial system. Is the tank still half full? Is it half empty? Or is there an unlimited supply in terms of how much political capital the administration is going to need now to carry forward some of these other points, I guess, for the next 2 years?
Well, certainly they have extended a ton of political capital, and it doesn't appear that they're in a position to really, lead the country forward as they had originally intended. It's going to take a different kind of game plan, one that includes Speaker Boehner and a much stronger Republican caucus in the Senate. But just because the game plan has changed doesn't mean the overall goals need to change. Moving this country forward is going to first and foremost mean jobs. Despite the fact that we have more robust economic growth forecasted, unemployment's still going to be way too high. And, if the issue is how to get this economy performing to potential, that's something that Republicans and Democrats should both have an equal vested interest in.
I guess I have a question really about the two economies that I'm witnessing. You mentioned the blue chips, and I agree. With rates where they are, I think it makes a whole lot of sense why they're performing well and why they'll continue to perform well. On the other side, you have some small companies that are having some struggles. You have an unemployment rate that is at a level that really is not sustainable, or rather it's not going to be accepted. And you also have the underemployment rate. So in these two economies, the rates are keeping the blue chips going, but without addressing the job issue, I guess you're saying that this is going to resolve itself?
Well, I mean, you could argue that the market rally that we've been benefiting from, especially this year, has really been amid in a small cap rally, despite the fact that those unemployment numbers have been known and have persisted and really have worsened in terms of assumptions that had priced in a better and quicker turnaround therein. So I don't see those as a drag on publicly traded small companies. I certainly see the unemployment issue reflected in a drag on small mom-and-pop shops on Main Street. We certainly have still many more for lease signs in my own hometown than we did just 5 years ago.
Well, Jim Lowell from Fidelity Investor Editor, thank you so much for joining us. We've got some breaking news. Thanks so much. And what's interesting, James, is as I've just taken a quick look at the Dow Transport's actually now turning higher on this session here, and a number of these companies are moving higher. The trains in particular are doing well. Maybe people are going to ship more goods by train here in a short term, or is this more of just a play on the longer-term expansion continuing? I
also think we're pretty good at this. New York, Chicago, the East Coast, we get our storms. I mean, I was reading a story about Greece getting hit with a little bit of a snowstorm, and their solution was, well, the sun will come out. London got hit pretty hard, and now they're thinking maybe they ought to buy some snow equipment. But here in New York and here in the Northeast, we're pretty good. So I think we'll work through this backlog of travelers, of packages, get things up and running pretty quickly. And so, again, I'm not surprised to see the market not falling off in any way significantly, because, again, I think we're used to this. It happens, and we'll get through it. Yeah,
like I said, I was just taking a look. Interesting, even the truckers doing okay, holding out. It's sort of a mixed picture here on the session. But again, the transport's also more than just a one-day phenomenon or one-storm phenomenon. I mean, we've seen them sort of leading the way as well as people continue to bank on the U.S. economy.
And this was expected to be a very light week. So clearly, with the storm and with so many the skeleton crew down at the exchanges, it's going to be a lighter volume. I guess the lightest volume of the year. But again, it was supposed to be a light week. I think we were going to kind of move into year-end without too much volatility, and I think that'll prove to be the case for the remainder of the week.
And historically, one of the better weeks too. I mean, history tells us between Christmas and New Year's, one of the better weeks. Maybe it is because of light participation, or just people just sort of letting the winners run, and they've done their tax loss selling. Any perspective on that from your own insights?
A little bit. I will say that there does seem to be the economic backdrop is supportive. I mentioned earlier rates down, I think, is also constructive. And again, despite the knock on retail sales today, the fact is it's been a very good season. So I do think there's some momentum finishing up the year.
All right. Well, we'll see if that will continue into the new year. And James, I mean, we're looking at gasoline prices hovering at $3 a gallon, maybe going north. I mean, it is, as Sandra mentioned, the downside to an economic recovery, both here and globally. You've got this global demand, China trying to tamp it a little bit, worried about inflationary concerns. But nonetheless, I mean, if you start seeing $3.50 a gallon gasoline again, could hurt retail sales and the recovery.
I agree. I mean, there's two key drivers here. There's the demand from Asia, and there's the OPEC not opening up the spigots and increasing supply, which they said they're not going to do. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about $90 oil. I certainly could see it pushing higher, and I'd be on the more bullish side of prices. But when I start hearing people talk about 120 so quickly, don't think OPEC will sit back and allow this type of political rhetoric to start to heat up. They like things. They like where things are. $90 is a great price for them. And my opinion is that as things start to get a little too heated, you might see loosening up and some supply increase.
And of course, Rich talking about offshore, but that's A debate for another time, but we'll wait and see if anything happens with that after BP. Anyway, take your best guess. Stick with us. That's straight ahead here on Fox Business. All right, it's that time. Take your best guess. All right, well, James, what else can we talk about but the weather? I mean, everyone talks about it. No one does anything about it, but you're looking, well, maybe some actionable stuff here.
I'm feeling glass half full right now. I know the talk today is going to be on how retail sales is going to be hurt by yesterday and today, which were supposed to be huge shopping days, being shopping wipeouts. But the fact is November beat expectations. December still expected, or at least was expected, to be 3.6% better than last year. And I think retailers got out in front with discounting being the new black. You saw promotions ranging from 30 to 70%. I think the recession wounds were still lingering, and the retailers really got out in front. So while, yes, yesterday are going to be are underperformers, the fact is I think when the dust settles, you're going to see some good numbers for these retailers for the holiday season. And lastly, I'll say on this snow day Monday, I'm going long. Hot chocolate for the kids, Jameson's or other adult beverages to spice up adult coffee, the Snuggie, Netflix, and Campbell's soup. So stay inside, stay warm, and enjoy the rest of the snow day.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to go, with best guess. Is a third time the charm? Why not? We were talking about Hugh Hefner, of course, the founder of Playboy, 84 years old, proposed on Christmas Eve to 24-year-old Miss December of '09, Crystal Harris. Is he hanging up the smoking jacket? That's what we want to know. He is the chief creative officer, by the way. And what's also interesting, his first wife was 1959. Met her in college. He studied women and gender issues. Now, was that the actual course, women and gender issues, or did he study women and gender issues? Anyway, only Hef knows, I guess. But anyway, he's got a couple of kids from each marriage. We wish him all the best, and all of you the best. Stay warm and dry.